My machine is threaded for a 4-thread stitch and ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and go back to stitching position there. Close up both my doors. And I do want to point out, I'm going to just bring this in a little bit closer. And hopefully you can see that the left needle is a little higher than the right needle. And I just want you to know that is totally normal. I'll go ahead and test my stitch on a scrap here. Going back to 4s on my tension. And I've got several layers I'm going to be stitching, so I'm going to go ahead and just put 3 layers of denim here together to test that seam. And I do want to be cutting. I'm set for a little longer stitch length, so I'm going close to 4. Thicker the fabric, the longer you want your stitch length to be, so your needle doesn't have to bite quite so many times so quickly. So I got a perfect stitch there, I would say. Looks good. Go ahead, just for fun, open that up so you can see what a nice seam that makes from the right side. Everything is anchored in there. All right, I have layered everything together, clipped it, and I am ready to sew the 2 side seams and then the bottom seam. I'll go ahead and do my side seams first. That tucked underneath there. And keep in mind, if you have, well, let me just point out the fact that my bottom pocket piece where my rulers are going to be stored is purposefully shorter. I didn't want that to be sandwiched in because I need the opening there. So I'm just going to make sure those layers are secured. But anytime you have extra thickness, if you are going to be trimming, go ahead and pre-trim that with your scissors so that when you get it underneath the foot, you can actually go past the blade. If your blade has to bite through really thick fabric right at the beginning, it's going to be a little bit taxing on it. So I want to make sure that pocket is entirely out of the way. I don't want any of it to get caught in there. And we're sailing through this. Now it looks like my loops are just hanging off just a little bit, so I'm going to go a little bit narrower on that cutting width. And it's okay if I trim a little bit of this, but I really don't want to trim much because I don't have a lot of extra width, particularly up at the top where the belt loops are. And I just want to get that tucked in. My elastic is. There we go. So if you do find up at this edge you're a little too close to your belt loop, then you certainly could sew this with a sewing machine because you can get in there with your zipper foot. And again, remember, no pins. You want to keep your pins well out of the way so they don't come into contact with your blades. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do my second side seam and the bottom, and you'll see when I turn it right side out. Thanks for watching this denim redesign hanging organizer project. I hope you learned some tips and tricks for using your serger along the way. Be sure to check out the entire playlist for lots of tips, tricks, and techniques. You'll also find basic instructions for this project in a PDF on my website, letsgosew.com. Check the show notes for a direct link. Thanks for watching and happy serging!